Sue Smith with you this morning. I'm in for Elias for the next 2 weeks, and it's nice to have you as the sun is trying to get out behind me. On this lovely morning, we're talking about garbage. Because over the last few weeks, Elias has been talking on the show about Montreal's goal of getting to zero waste by 2030. And you know, it's not going that well. There has been a lot of pushback from residents, and we've seen a lot of stories in the news about, rats and the smell, and people don't like the biweekly collection. Well, Saint Laurent thinks that they have found the solution. The Montreal borough says their waste management plan is working with less waste sent to landfills in spite of a population increase. Alan DeSousa is the mayor of Saint Laurent and a member of opposition Ensemble Montreal, and he's on the line. Hello.
Morning, Sue. Thanks for having me on.
So how has your borough reduced waste? What are you doing?
Well, let's just say that it is important that everyone in the community gets involved, and I'm thankful that our residents have jumped in and have been as cooperative and collaborative in that. That being said, it's not something we woke up overnight, and by no means can I pretend that we found perfection. That being said, we have had a population increase of about 43% in the last 20 years. And at the same time, we have had a decrease in the tonnage of garbage by 34%. So despite a pop increase, we are sending 12,000 tons a year less garbage to landfill. So those are the results. But we've also had the benefit of the tools we've put in place, making our community cleaner. And we don't have to garbage bags strewn around that urban animals rip into and smells in summer. But that being said, it's not a perfect solution, but it has been quite positive, and I'm encouraged by the work that and the support I've had in the community to make this happen.
Okay, so I want to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, about the method, and then about the residents. So, one thing that your borough is using is electronic tracking on bins. Can you sort of explain that, and how does it work, and how is it used?
Well, we started off by giving everyone a garbage bin in 2006 that everyone got. There was some resistance at the time, so we tailored it to meet the needs of the population so people could choose the size of the bin. And then for garbage, and then ultimately for recycling and composting, we put in place a electronic chip that you would be able to read it when the bin was picked up. What that did was give us a very clear idea as to who was participating, what the tonnage was, and we were able then to, in a very easy fashion, know which communities needed support, needed help. So when we would deploy students in the summer to go and knock on doors and encourage people and educate people, we knew where to go. It let us know who was participating in composting and who was not. And so where we need to go and help people who needed advice as to how to compost, we were able to do that. So the electronic chips gave us a good sense of what the acceptance was in the community, because I have a large community. I've got 44,000 homes in Saint Laurent, and I don't have that much resources. So
but can I ask
have to be able to go specifically to get the biggest bang for our buck.
Mayor Alan DeSousa, can I ask you, I mean, it does sound a bit big brotherish, and I do like the way you say, we go into communities to support them, but it's also kind of like you're spying on them, like you're not composting, you're not doing the right things with your bins. Like, how did residents react to that?
Well, I don't think anyone really objected to it, because they knew that we were just evaluating at times, and we need to have a portrait of our community. I mean, once something is put on the public domain, it's the city is picking it up. I think we're entitled to know what we're picking up and where we're not picking stuff up. And in our view, it was quite clear. The more garbage you're sending to landfill, the more expensive it's going to be for the population. So we have to manage it well to make sure that we're not wasting taxpayers' dollars. At the same time, there are definitely environmental benefits, because the more you're able to reuse and recycle and compost, it's beneficial for the environment. So for the monies as well as the environmental benefits, the improvements have been huge. And today, I think our community is supportive. Again, it's not perfect because perfection's found in heaven. I want to go there one day, but not right away. So we are working with imperfect tools and solutions, but we're getting good results. And I think that's the important thing.
I mean, I guess you've been at it longer, but it seems that, Montreal is having a lot of pushback. Residents don't like the biweekly aspect. They don't like, there are rats. I'm sure you've read the reports. They complain of rats. They complain of smells. They don't like to necessarily use their compost bins. So what advice would you have for the city in how to roll out a program like this?
Well, we shared this. We've been doing this once every 2-week pickup since 2015. So we've got 10 years of experience on that. And when other boroughs in Montreal wanted to go that route, we said, look, the cornerstone of the success of our policy in once every 2-week pickup was to give everyone a garbage bin where they can put stuff in, one that's washable, one that has a cover on it and can be sealed, one where the squirrels and the skunks cannot get into. And I think that has been the biggest reason for our success. At one point, there had been resistance to, but today, I don't think you could tear the garbage bin we gave to people away from them. People see the benefits of it. They adhere to it. So the key principle would be give everyone the garbage bin that they are allowed to then store their stuff, and recognizing that composting and recycling is stuff that people want to get rid of. We have it had once a week pickup. So the smelly stuff, the bulky stuff gets picked away once a week and disappears. This other stuff that's left doesn't smell, and for the most part is in a container that's washable, and people find that it works well.
So their goal of zero waste by 2030, what is your goal?
Well, I do know at the present time we are generating less garbage. We have our recycling and composting rates have gone up. But at the end of the day, when I want to look at things, I say, how much waste is being generated per resident by year? And at this point, our number is about 306 kilograms per person per year. Mm-hmm. The target for Montreal was close to 400 kilograms per person. So we're at 25% less than the island average. And so obviously something is happening. Either my community is consuming less, it's recycling more, it's composting more, and it's generating less garbage. I think we've got to continue to look to educate. I have a very diverse community, over 166 different ethnicities, wow. A large population. So for me, the whole notion of continuous education, sensitization is an important one. And so I think with that amount of diversity in the community, we've got to make sure the message is going out. I don't have a homogeneous community where everyone speaks the same language and the same culture and so on and so forth. It's very diverse. And so our challenges are there to make sure people know. But I've found that when people know and people understand, people participate and make it theirs.
All right, Mr. DeSousa, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. That's Alan DeSousa. He's the mayor of Saint Laurent, talking about the success they're having. As he says, it's not perfect. Perfection is found in heaven. Those are his words. But the Montreal Borough says their waste management plan is working with less waste sent to landfills. 12,000 tons less, he says, in spite of a population increase. So, yeah, maybe Montreal can learn from them as we head to a goal of zero waste by 2030.